Welcome to the Directors UK podcast. We're the professional association for UK film and TV directors. No matter the format, no matter the genre, our featured directors share their approach to the craft. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andy Harrower, CEO at Directors UK. Lovely to see you all. Tonight we have in conversation Shih-Ching Tsou on Left-Handed Girl with Rhianna Dhillon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Hi, nice to see some of you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming out. This is such a gorgeous. I just wanted to jump into every scene of the film. I know it's been in the pipeline for 20 plus years. First of all, how do you emotionally hold on to a story that long?
Well, I think before we put it on the screen, I always thinking about it, but just the timing, every film has its own timing, has its own life, so you can't really rush it, and you can't really do do anything to kind of make it happen. So I'm just waiting for the right moment. I think that just the moment is supposed to be here, and it's here.
Tell us a little bit then about the obstacles that you had to overcome to get Left-Handed Girl to our screen.
But Left-Handed Girl is actually the very first idea that I talked to Sean, and when I first met him in the editing school, editing class in New School, and that was 1999 when I first met him, and we happen to like the same type of movies, so we watch a lot of movies together, and we decided like maybe we should make a movie together. So that was the first time I told him about what my grandfather told me in high school. He saw me use the knife with my left hand, so he said, "Well, you shouldn't use left hand; it's the devil's hand." So that kind of stayed in my mind for a long time. I didn't understand what that meant. And especially when the time I wasn't even a left-handed girl. I already got corrected when I was in kindergarten.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's like instinctual. Like right now I'm holding mic with left hand.
Yeah.
So it's just naturally I feel this is the one I'm using.
Yeah.
So for the longest time I didn't understand. So when I told him, he thought this is a great idea. We should try to spin into a story. So that's how we started, doing all the research. We went to Taiwan in 2001, and then we realized it's too big of a project to take on because we have so many characters, so many locations. So, we went back to Taiwan. Went back to New York. We made takeout, with $3,000 and just two of us. So we kind of just developed a way to make the movie, like the movie we continue making, like Tangerine and For That Project, Starlet, all other projects. So I remember after Takeout was in theater in 2008, we thought maybe that's the time we can really make Left-Handed Girl now. So we went back to Taiwan, stayed for a month, and we wrote the script and also did all the location scout, and we found the night market you saw on the screen, and we ran into this little girl, and she was so cute. She just running around in the night market, and we followed her back to where her mother had a noodle stand, and we were so excited because it was a story in our head, in our script. But now we saw this little girl who's a real character that really live in the night market. So that's how we decided to we follow her, and we actually made the first trailer just with her running around. And with that trailer we went to two different market to try to find funding, but it just didn't happen because at the time Asian cinema wasn't really a thing, and people didn't like to watch movies with subtitles. So it took a while, and finally 2022 we went to Cannes with Red Rocket, and we met with the French distributor. So he said, well, if you can get the Taiwanese government film fund, then we'll help you make the film. So that's how we finally make it.
It's an incredible story. So I kind of love the idea. You've talked in the past about how you collect stories and how they stay with you. So I'd love to know how you sort of store those stories. Are those things that you write them down? Are you remembering them? Is it the way that somebody's told you a story that makes it kind of stick in your mind that you know you want to put on screen? How does it work for you?
But throughout that 10 years, we finished the script, but I never really go back to the script. It's always there. But every year I go home to visit my family because all my family, they still, to this day, they all live in Taiwan. And I'm the only one who's in New York. So I go back there every year and I visit friends. Especially the family we met in 2010. I went back there every year to visit them. And I always ask them how their life is, and then talking to them and get all the ideas, get all the stories out of them. So a lot of things that's in the movie right now, they actually, it's from their lives. Like for example, when they're talking about, oh, I have this money plan that I have money and you can have it. Remember Johnny said that? That's actually a conversation I had with the noodle stand owner, and he told me about how because it's like a big community in night market, so they will have this private money plan. So everybody will put in some money together, and every month somebody need money, they will they will give the money to that person. So it's like a saving plan among the community.
That's so beautiful. Oh, what a lovely thing. I just feel like you would not get that here necessarily, but it's nice to see. Um, what did you find the most sort of satisfying about capturing Taipei on screen, showing audiences your view of it?
Well, I think through making this film, I fall in love with Taipei. I fall in love with everything that it's how I grew up. I grew up in Taiwan until college. I went to New York. So everything that happened, in my childhood and all the familiar corners of familiar things, familiar food, they all become so wonderful because I don't live there anymore. Yeah, so everything is so special to me. Everything is so Taiwanese. I love everything. And I remember one day we were just, trying to shoot on the street, and I saw this green. They paint the road green for the pedestrians to walk. So I said, "Oh, I want to capture that. You have to make sure you capture that." So he looked at me and said, "Well, that is I can't believe you want to do that because no Taiwanese director want to capture that because they think they're so ugly." So I say, no, that's how this is Taipei. This is so special. It is so Taiwanese, and we had to put that into the film. So throughout making the film, I fall in love with my city again.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. So the script, is this right? It was originally written in English and then translated into Mandarin. So tell us about that process. Was there any particular challenge that came out of doing it that way around for you?
Uh, well, in the beginning, it actually felt a little bit unnatural because we wrote together in English, and when I
You and
translate,
Sean.
yeah, because he doesn't know Mandarin, so I had to.
You still haven't taught him after 20 years.
Well, it is not that easy to learn, unfortunately. So I will tell him the story, and he will type it into the computer. So when I had to apply for the Taiwanese film grant, I eventually translate the whole thing into Chinese. And I remember in the beginning, the first couple draft, people will tell me like, it doesn't sound like China. It doesn't really sound like people talk in here. So I was like, well, this is just a blueprint because we will have the actor come on board, and they are going to use their own words. We're not going to stick to the script like what word by word. So that's how and also throughout the 10 years I put in all the different idea, different conversations, even the news, all the news in the film, they are most of them are real news I just purchased from the station. It's just ridiculous, and I think that just when I went, I remember a couple of times I went home and I saw the news, like you can change your name. Your name have salmon. You can go to the restaurant to eat for free. And people like went crazy, change their names. So yeah, it's a real news. So I was like, this is so ridiculous, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
So I put those little things into
Yeah.
into the film to make it so authentic.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about your collaboration with Sean Baker and um, why you work so well together? What your collaboration, your partnership actually looks like?
Well, I think I just went way back to when we love watching all the films. We love Dogma 95 films, and we watch almost all of them together. So at the time we were like, I remember at the time Sex and the City is so popular.
Mhm.
So everybody was thinking, oh, that's New York. We all had to go to New York to see that. But we were thinking, well, that's just not the New York we know. So that's why we went on to, we make takeout because that's the New York we see every day. You see that the delivery people just walk, biking around and, see the grinding and the raining and everything. So we thought we want to make something like that. So from working on that movie, we kind of, just two of us. So we kind of developed the skills. Like, you're good at shooting with a camera, and I'm good with, maybe I pick out the costume with actors' clothes and all the props on set. So we just kind of developed this, this way to work together. You'll do something, then I'll do something else. So throughout, I think throughout 25 years, I work on all his films as producer, but I also did everything else. I did costume design, I did street casting, and I did location scout. So I think like throughout those working experience, that also give me all those filmmaking skills. So I'm really, really grateful that I work with him, and he's very open to collaborate. So I think that's a very important thing. Working with somebody you have a sense and sensibility, and you like same type of films.
I think, as I said earlier, like I think what made me fall in love with it so quickly was just how sort of tangible it felt, how much I did want to just sort of reach in and like look, just kind of touch everything in the night market. And it's kind of in this, it feels very real, but in this slightly heightened state. So can you talk about how you wanted to balance that with the sort of social realism of the story?
Well, from the very first frame, you see the kaleidoscope image. So we really want to show this film. We want the audience to take in the film through this little girl's eyes. So you will see all the color is very bright, and you see the angle of the camera. You feel like you're like immersed into the night market. So that's the intention. I want the audience to feel like you've been to the night market with her, and you see this world through her eyes. So I think that's just the way to you see the kids. They see something we don't see anymore because they are everything is so fresh to them. They didn't see a lot, so every little thing they will feel so like wonderful. So I think that's the intention. I want the audience have the same feeling.
Yeah. Also, we are so seeing it from her eyes because you are filming it from her height as well, and we're following her. So can you talk about when you made that decision, why you made it, and how you kind of filmed those shots of her walking through the night market?
I actually had a very extensive like meeting with the cinematographer. We probably sat down for like 3 4 days, and we break down everything, discuss whose angle, like whose point of view is this scene, where the camera should be, and what should we see, and from which character's point of view. So we did have a very deep discussion about that, and especially when I wanted to make this film in the real night market. So everything you see in the film, they are all pretty much they are all the real locations. Like the noodle stand, I rented from this owner. They run business 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So, I saw them and I was like, wow, this is perfect. If we can rent it from them. So I was there for like 2 months. Every day I went to visit him to talk to him to convince him let us shoot the film there. So eventually he agreed. So
Yeah.
he even rented all the food, not just the equipment. He rented the food to us. So
Really?
were able to, after they finished the business at 7,
Yeah.
we just take over
Right.
and they come back at like midnight to close it down.
That's incredible. And what about the production design then? So I know was it Genie Co that you were working with on production design. If if the market is you're kind of capturing it as it is, what sort of conversations were you having about the production design?
Well, I basically told him like we want to keep as real as possible. You don't have to do much. We just have to we want to use the real location. We want to use everything, it's already there because that's nothing can be more authentic than the real, the real night market like setting.
Yeah.
So that's how we decided to make everything just you can add a little thing, but most of them are just the real thing.
Let's talk a bit about the amazing cast, and tell us about the process for you from the very beginning. Did you always have a plan of how you would find these three kind of core characters?
Well, the plan is always, street casting
Mm.
because that's what I know about casting,
Yeah.
through working on Sean's film.
Yeah.
So that was always in my mind. We had to do street casting. So to find this little girl, we did a social media street casting, and I watched 50 to 70 audition tapes, and we didn't find her because I think I'm just very particular, especially after working with Brooklyn Prince on the Florida project.
Wow,
Like
yeah.
my standard is like
Yeah.
here, so I feel like I need to find somebody who's as good as Brooklyn. So we didn't find the first round, and then we also did a acting workshop with an acting coach, but we still didn't find her. And eventually, she was recommended by an agent of a actor in Taiwan, and she was she actually she acted in commercials for 3 years since she was 3. So when you turn on TV, you'll see her like every other minute. She's in every other commercials. So she had she had a lot of experience acting in front of camera, and also her mom is her acting coach. So when I cast her, and her mom told me like you don't have to hire anybody, because I'm perfect for her. I know what to do, like how I make if you have something she needs to cry, I know how to make her cry.
I bet she does.
Yeah, so they have their own method.
Yeah.
So I'm so lucky,
So it
I
worked.
hire somebody and then come with the acting coach.
Yeah. But I'm amazed that worked because you can imagine someone being like, "Oh, I can do it," and then you'd be like, "No, no." So you obviously had to build up a lot of trust in kind of the way that they could work. But then, how did you obviously acting in a commercial versus this performance? It kind of feels like worlds apart. So, what was your process of getting her to that point of I don't know, just being so incredibly natural and also having to bond her with the other actors who were her family, albeit, quite a fraud family.
Well, we intentionally I didn't have them. We didn't have a lot of meetings beforehand
Okay.
because I wanted to be organic, and especially they have this very like very weird family dynamic. They don't really talk to each other. They are kind of with a little distance. So intentionally, I didn't want them to be overbounded. So we didn't even have any rehearsals.
You didn't have any rehearsal.
No, no rehearsals because I don't like it when they like you know what they are talking about
Yeah.
because back and forth just really not
Yeah.
natural anymore
Yeah.
because it's over rehearsed. So I try not to have that. So I ask them to if you can ask me any question you have, and we can discuss. You want to know anything about the character, and I will tell them stories. I think that's the best way to kind of make them understand. So they will, study. I also say, please bring your own family that dynamic inside
Yeah.
because I'm sure everybody has some crazy drama. So I think that's very natural. They just bring their own experience into the character.
So can you just tell us then about like that first day on set when you were getting them to perform together, and were you anxious about how it would turn out if they hadn't had those rehearsals? Can you tell us what the first scene was? Where did you start?
Oh my god, the first thing. I think the first thing was in the night market actually. The very when she like walked all the way in, and then talking to Johnny,
Yeah,
and talking about like selling the
I
sponge.
love that.
So that was a crazy first day because we didn't know we have 20 people crew, and it's like in Taiwan they all wear black t-shirt, and they were like gathering together just kind of across the street just watch. So when they did that, I'm like, you can't really shoot because everybody, you see how many people in the night market, everybody stopped, and
Right.
they said, oh, what are you shooting,
Oh,
and who is in it? So we couldn't shoot in the first day. And so the second day I decided, well, we need to do something about this. I say, well, nobody can wear a black shirt, and then if there's nothing you need to do on set, you need to just go back to the office, or you have to look like you are one of the night market goers.
yeah.
You can walk around, but you cannot, just don't look like you are shooting a film. So from second day on, we have only 6 people on set, including me, and then with the actors. And on top of that, because we use iPhone, so it's we trying to like hide everything. Also hire our camera, hire our crew.
Oh
So
wow.
that's how we managed to finish shooting in the night market.
Yeah, incredible. And you also have these amazing close-ups as well of people, which again has that slight kaleidoscopic. What lens were you using for that?
We used the Filmic Pro. It's an app, and then also use the anamorphic lens. So it has like it's a actual wide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to make their foreheads just
Yeah.
kind of really, really pop. Um, how long was the script then? Because it feels like if you're asking her to just kind of go and have a little wander and go and have, presumably there are moments that are not scripted that are in this. So how much was kind of added? How much was the script in the end? How much were you sort of being able to film in a day?
We pretty much stay, with the script,
Mhm.
because they are a very obvious story we had to hit, something they say or something they do. So we follow the script pretty tightly, and especially, Sean. We know Sean is going to edit the film, so we had to kind of make sure he's still, still like within the script, so he can kind of follow. And then that's also another thing, he's also the co-writer, so when he edited the film, he knows everything inside out. The character. He doesn't even need to understand, but he knows like what, like personally, what they are talking about. So shooting, we pretty much follow the script. But obviously, when she was walking around, especially when she walked through that dark alley, that's actually when I got the location, the noodle stand.
Yeah.
I actually found that dark alley because I was just walking around every day, trying to see every corner. So that's the new thing that we added in. She ran through that dark alley. It's like a shortcut.
Yeah, gorgeous. So after you've sort of done the scenes where you were trying to avoid people looking and kind of following you around, were there any other challenges that were thrown up by filming in quite an uncontrolled environment? How long were you there for?
Well, the whole shoot is around 35 to 37 days.
Okay.
And I think night market is probably like a week.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, was there anything else that came out of of being on location and also filming at night and also having like the sort of very live hustle and bustle and bikes going past and scooters and all of that?
I think we didn't really have any like extra difficult part because I remember maybe it's the one when she's running, like after she stole the thing, and then she's running. And so as soon as she runs, everybody naturally they like turn their head.
Yeah.
So for that scene, I remember we had to kind of have people block in the back,
Right.
like make sure like people are not looking over. Yeah.
Yeah. So you talked about your cinematographers, but can you tell us about your process for choosing your cinematographers for this?
Uh, but there are actually two,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I hired first is Ke Chen, and he already won a best cinematographer at Golden Horse like 2 or 3 years ago. But I actually talked to him even before, right after he shot the first film, his
Mm.
first film, and his first film, there was a protagonist is also a little girl, and that's why I saw her film. I saw his film. I said, well, I maybe I want to work with him because he's Taiwanese, and he had looks like he has a very good sensibility to how to film a little child.
Mm. And because we were talking about like seeing it from her perspective, we're seeing it from her perspective, also kind of hearing it from her perspective, like the kind of the whimsical nature of like the music and also like the sort of the sound of the adults. It kind of feels like quite sort of top heavy. Can you talk about the sound design and also your music choices?
The sound design, well, Sean actually picked that the theme music
Oh yeah.
because it's I don't remember which movie he was talking about, but there was a movie, they had this very similar type of like a metal drum.
Mm.
So it has that very cute, like a child like sensibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember he actually picked that music at the very very beginning, of the editing process. Yeah, and then when she was using her left hand, there's a drumming, like a drumming music. Yeah, that actually I picked it when I was editing the film myself because before he edited the first 35 scenes and then he went off to make his Anora. So I took it back to work on it. So during that period of time, I like try all the music because
Mm.
I thought that moment needs some kind of special music.
Yeah.
And I feel like the drumming because she's doing something bad, so
Yeah.
obviously she's very nervous.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's a perfect sound to kind of show her inner world.
The imagination sort of reminded me a little bit of Jumanji almost, like the sort of like the kids' imagination's just gonna go and it's gonna spill out. Um, I know we're going to move on to audience questions one second, just because you've mentioned about the edit. Um, so were you not? So you weren't working in tandem with Sean. You were sort of doing it like in blocks almost with him and then you.
Yeah, he finished the first 35 and then he went off to prepare his film.
Were you
So
not with him? Were you with him at the beginning?
yes, yeah,
Okay, so
we
you were
set out a
together.
we set a project together. I went to LA for like a week, so I kind of like walk through everything and
Yeah.
tell him like where all the delis are, and also we kind of like talk about how this film should be edited.
Mm.
So we did have that very initial plan. And then after he went on to do his film, I actually hired another editor to kind of help, do like put everything together. So he would give us notes and stuff. But I think eventually, he took it back when he was on a Nora Oscar campaign tour. So he was like traveling with my film
Oh
and
wow.
editing in hotel room.
That's incredible
Yeah.
dedication. And finally, were there any things that you like learned specifically on this film for this film that you would love to take forward to your next project?
What I think I learned is every project has its own timing. So you just cannot rush it, You have to just let it be and let it develop. Yeah.
Organically.
Yes.
Yeah. If you've got a question, please put your hand up. We've got mics coming. Um, second row.
Thank you. I was going to ask you at what point you told the child actor who the character's real mother was. Did you keep it a secret? Because it sounded like you filmed out of continuity. So I thought that would be really fascinating to know.
We actually we shot the last scene the last. So that's the only things that we try to make it like the script because we obviously we don't want the actor to think about this ending. So I think that she always know because she obviously her mom like read her all the lines, her line and all the script, so she knows. But I just don't know if she understands what that means. So I think a lot of times she probably she's reading the script and then she understand the character, but I think she was so young. She was 6. So she does, I don't know how much she really understands the meaning of that behind, like, oh, who is really my mother? I don't think she understands. And it's really funny because she just recently watched the film in France, because in France it's general, it's rated like anybody can watch, and in Taiwan is protected. Is you have to be 12 and to go with your parents. So the longest time she didn't watch the film and she was forced to like answer all the questions. So she was so cute, and then she eventually watched it in France and she was so happy. She's like, I love it.
So sweet. Thank you. There's a question behind.
Thank you. 26 years. Congratulations. This is such a fantastic work. I want to talk a bit more in detail on the thing that you mentioned about like trying to get it made and it being a non-English film. Um, I think there's a lot to do here, so I'm just going to throw it like as wide as possible. What were the main challenges in giving this film to potential investors? What were the ways you've been able to make people take the risk of investing into this film and hence getting it to the stage where it is today? Thank you.
We actually, I guess this is the big, it's like a big, it's after Parasite, right? That kind of opened the door for Asian cinema, and people started to like open their mind and open their eyes, and then they also like get used to reading all the subtitles during the pandemic. So I think that everything kind of helped. So I think that again as the timing, right? Because this is a time that people pay attention to world cinema, like they pay attention to local stories. So I think that's really, it's just the timing is right. And when we went to Cannes, with Red Rocket, we met with the French distributor. I think at the point they already distributed Florida Project and the Red Rocket, so they know like Sean's story and the way we produce the film. They kind of trust our way to make film, and they trust we can tell a good story. So I think the track record is so important. You have to have you need to have a body of work. You need to keep on doing the work that really matter and really you really enjoy, and you have to really follow your heart, because so many people told me a lot of things like, oh, the left-handed taboo does not exist anymore. But I told them, well, this is my story. And a lot of people told me a lot of, like, this story doesn't matter. But I never listened to that. I said, well, it's my story. I will tell my story my way. And when I went back to before I shot a film, I went back to Taiwan to talk to a couple producers about making a film in night market. And they told me, you can't make a film in a real night market. You have to make a set and you hire all the extras to walk around. Looks like a night market. I did not listen to them. I said, well, no, I know how to I know how to make a film in the real locations. I think it's possible. So I guess I never really listened to other people tell me what not to do or what to do. So,
When you were just saying about people who didn't believe that this was still a thing, what has the reaction been from people who presumably do remember it being a thing?
yeah, that's another amazing story, because when I cast Nina as the left-handed girl, she was 6, and that was 2022. And when she came, I remember the first day she came on set, her mom told me, well, Nina was left-handed, and then she got corrected by her grandmother because the grandmother did not like the idea she's left-handed. So we had to retrain her use her left hand.
So that literally happened to her.
Yes. So when I heard that, I was like, well, thank God I didn't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
Because I know like it's a story, and very surprisingly, it still exists. And then this girl who was left-handed and got corrected. So I think over the summer I went back. I went back to Taiwan and I had a play day with them. So I just asked them, "Mom, I said, how's her left-handed situation? Is she using left hand or right hand now?" And then mother told me, "Yeah, the grandmother heard she make a movie called Left-Handed Girl, and then she completely stopped doing that." Yeah.
Good. Power of cinema. Any other questions from our audience? Yeah.
Congratulations on your film. I got two questions. One about the use of the iPhone, just from a technical perspective. Did you find that it always sort of held up technically? Were there shots that you just couldn't use from a technical perspective? And secondly, from a permissions perspective of filming in those real locations, how did you tackle that in terms of showing real people's faces, etc.? Thanks.
Oh, sorry. What's the first question?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
the-
What was the first
the
bit of the question?
iPhone now.
Oh, the iPhone.
Yeah, just from a technical perspective.
Well, we shot with the iPhone 13, and it's actually really, really, it's a really good camera. And we got four phones because we also shot Tangerine on iPhone, but at the time it was iPhone 5. So that it's so different because iPhone 5, a lot of time they just overheated and it shut down itself. But when we shot with iPhone 13, it's really, really professional camera, and especially with the Filmic Pro, we shot on Lux mode, so we had the 4K, like really high quality footage to we can do a lot of things like color correction. We can do a lot of like a real whatever the regular digital camera that shot is the same thing. So basically I think it's the also use the anamorphic lens, and we also use the it's a called black forest filter. So when you hit the light is a little bit like blurry on the side. Yeah. And what's the
And just about the just from a permissions perspective. Yeah.
I remember we posted a sign and saying we're shooting here, and so everybody kind of understand that. And also we talked to the night market. They have this like a, how do you call that? Yeah, like a council. So we talked to them before the shooting, and so they knew we're shooting there. And also, you see all the stand right next to us, and they all knew we're shooting. So sometimes they were trying to like doing this to avoid, they don't want to be in the camera, but they all know. And then we all had the permission. And I went back there this time when I was in Taiwan. I told them, "Hey, the movie's coming out. You have to come see it, and you're gonna see yourself." And they're all so happy. They're very, very sweet.
Love that. Any other questions? We haven't had a chance to talk about the meerkat yet, by the way. I love the meerkat. Is it a meerkat? Yeah. Because I was thinking, it must have been an unplanned moment, but the meerkat watching them have sex was just genuinely like I almost spat out my coffee. It was so brilliant. Were there any other of those sort of, I don't know, little unplanned moments that just kind of matched up that you noticed in the edit that you were like, well, we've got to keep that in?
Yeah, the meerkat, that one is definitely that. It's meerkat improvised. But the Gugu, the character Gugu, originally in the original script, it's a monkey, because I had a pet monkey when I was young, so I wanted to have a monkey as in the film. But when before we start shooting pre-production, I told my light producer, and then she actually went onto the mountain. We have monkey on the mountain, so she went onto the mountain and she found a little monkey. But then we, after like discuss it, we said we can't shoot with the monkey because they have this law. If it's a protected animal, and if you had a monkey in the film, they would not let you play in Taiwan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unless you have those special performance certificate.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's why Gugu was a meerkat. No,
We have
just
one question.
great.
Yeah, it was a couple of things. I just wanted to ask you about the schedule because it sounded like quite like not a long amount of day, but maybe relatively long for this film. So I wondered whether you were shooting shorter hours because of the children. And the other thing I wanted to know was about if you were always shooting single camera and also or up to 4, and also what was your sound setup on set? There may be short answers, but there's quite a few.
Right. The first one. Uh,
Yeah, with it short days.
yes, because with the little girl, we can't really have. I do remember the hours is like 6 hours, and especially in night market, we can only film after dark, so that means we can only film like probably after 7 or I remember 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So that make the day short because the night market sometimes they close early. So when they close, you can't really continue shooting unless we're shooting the closing time. And the second question is, oh yeah, we have 4 camera altogether, but most of the time we have 2 cameras shooting at the same time. So that saves a lot of time. We don't have to do like cover up. Just they both can shoot at the same time. And in the banquet hall, we have 4 camera out all together, and we asked all the crew member hide. So the camera actually like run. There's just like 360, so nobody can be there. But I remember we had the 4 camera. That's it. And the sound we did this professional film, the soundman. So everybody's wear lavaliers, and we also have a boom sometimes. But most of the time in the night market, we can. You have this big hairy thing, then everybody knows you are doing something.
Yeah,
So yeah, mostly just a laugh, and then he would like hide in the dark in the back alley to capture a little sound. But he did a great job. The sound was really, really good.
Proper like guerrilla filmmaking, isn't it? Incredible. Shih-Ching, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you about Left-Handed Girl. Please give it up for the wonderful
Thank you.
Shih-Ching. Thank you.
This podcast was recorded at a Directors UK member event. You can hear plenty more directors in conversation by subscribing on the usual streaming platforms. Follow us on social media and find out more about us at directors.uk.com.